The 7 money questions every couple needs to answer and ask. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sugar Mama's Fireplay, your go-to podcast for all financial matters, including financial independence, financial security, and most importantly, long-term financial freedom. I am Canna Campbell, financial planner, and today we're talking about the money questions that you must ask and answer before saying I do or signing the dotted line. Money is one of the leading causes of tension in relationships. According to Relationships Australia, up to 32% of relationships break down with separation and divorce because of financial stress. Yet, at the same time, so many couples avoid discussing money and finances until it is too late. Things are too messy and quite possibly irreparable. But not you and not your partner, because you are here right now listening to this episode. You're educating yourself, you're empowering yourself, and you're ensuring that your relationship is built on a strong financial foundation. So in this episode today, right now, I'm going to talk you through 7 essential questions that you need to ask your partner and actually yourself before signing the dotted line. And I'm going to share with you how to navigate these conversations with honesty, respect, and an important sense of teamwork, because as they say, teamwork makes the dream work. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Question number 1, what does financial freedom really mean to you? It's a really big question, but we need to explore it carefully and dissect it. Now, for some people, financial freedom means like retiring early and never ever worrying about money again. It's quite simple. But for others, it's a lot more than that. It's about the ability to travel, to donate money to charity or to give their time to charity, to own a home or provide education for their children or their grandchildren. Some may see it as simply being debt-free, whilst others have great big passive income stream goals. The key here is not just to listen to your partner's answer, but to also reflect on your own and consider if your visions and your values are actually aligned. If not, that's actually okay. That's perfectly fine. It's even healthy. But you need to look at, is there room for compromise and collaboration? And these questions are incredibly powerful because it sets the foundation for how you both view money today and in the future, and what you ultimately want to work together as a team. So sit back, relax, write down your answers, and listen carefully with respect to what your partner says. And think about whether you're both open to alterations and changes if you like the sound of what each other says. Question number 2, what money habits from your upbringing, your childhood, do you want to keep? And which ones do you want to leave behind? Our childhood experiences with money really do shape the way we manage money as adults. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. But that's okay. And there's lots of ways we can fix any childhood issues. So I want you to think about how you grew up. Did you grow up in a household where money was scarce? If so, you may have actually developed a scarcity mindset where you've always been in fear that there won't be enough money, or you're not even maybe worthy of having money. Or perhaps you saw really responsible budgeting habits in action and you want to carry those forward into your own life. On the other hand, perhaps your family was really frugal and you don't actually want to live a life like that, and with such, I guess, a tight flow around money. And so you have an extreme reaction when you see that. Or perhaps you grew up in a family where money was never spoken about, and you really want to change that with your family, make it different, give your children that financial empowerment. I know for myself, I watched a little bit of financial instability. We weren't struggling, but it felt like it really fluctuated to me as a child from my point of view. So for me, when I think about what I want to take and what I want to leave behind, I obviously want to take that empowerment and that education. But for me, I really value stability and security. So having those conversations with Tom was really important. And as he heard my answer, he agreed that he liked the sound of that and we could incorporate it into our goals together. So take a moment to think about the money habits that you are really wanting to keep and what you want to leave behind safely and rebuild from. do things differently. And as I said, listen to your partner's perspective with curiosity and respect. Understanding their financial background can give you a really valuable insight as to how they think and feel and behave when it comes to money today. And as I said, these are going to be really powerful building blocks because you get to consciously choose what you want to take forward and keep, but actually put together as solid building blocks and then go on and build an amazing powerhouse of financial stability, security, and of course, freedom, because you've invested time having that conversation now. Question number 3. What is your current financial situation looking like? This is all about being honest, airing your dirty laundry if necessary, or actually peeling back the layers and saying, yeah, I've actually been really savvy with money and smart with money. Lay everything on the table. Your income, your savings, your debts, your investments, superannuation, all your financial commitments, absolutely everything. Now, I understand this may feel uncomfortable for a variety of different reasons, but please feel safe in doing this. And if you have a financial situation that you're not necessarily proud of, I don't want you to feel embarrassed or be filled with shame or guilt. I want you to share your financial situation with a sense of reality and ownership. Okay, maybe you've got credit card debt, but you're working on paying it off. That's the important thing. Or perhaps it's the other end of the spectrum. You've actually built an incredible investment portfolio and you've maybe inherited money, or you made a really smart investment, or you got a very generous employee share plan and you've built incredible wealth, or perhaps you've just done the good old-fashioned hard work and built wealth. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Be transparent. You would never want your partner hiding anything from you, so don't do the same. And remember this, making that decision to be a couple through marriage or through whatever institutional and spiritual arrangement you have, you're deciding to be a team. You're agreeing to be a team, and you're going to build something together that is stronger than you've ever built before. So it's important that you have that full visibility over where you are right now so that you can build on together from this starting point. Question number 4. How do you approach budgeting? And how can we make budgeting easier for both of us? Now, some people love to track every single dollar that they spend, in a detailed spreadsheet, whilst others find it incredibly tedious and overwhelming and just prefer to live life in the moment and think, well, I don't have a budget, but I spend everything that I earn. This is where you need to have that conversation about how you might do things differently going forward that's going to actually benefit your financial situation, and how you're going to manage money together on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, fortnightly basis, annual basis, and going forward. Are you going to use a spreadsheet? Are you going to use a budgeting app? Or are you going to use cash and envelope system? Or perhaps you might even want to use my budgeting and cash flow system. Or perhaps neither of you want to even use a budget. Not something that I would recommend, but of course there are people out there where both couples don't have a budget because they don't want one. But this is important. You've got to have this conversation. How can we make managing our money and our cash flow easier and more efficient, particularly if we have some exciting financial goals that we want to work on together? So this is where you start looking at solutions and strategies. Perhaps you need to look at automating some of your finances, like a regular savings plan or a regular investment plan. Or perhaps you need to make sure that all your bills now come out of a joint bank account. And perhaps you now need to switch from using credit cards to maybe just using ATM debit cards if you know that you've got a bit of a credit card debt problem behind you, or you want to build up some savings and you like the accountability of using a debit card because you're spending cash rather than building credit card debt in your life. Whatever you choose is got to bring clarity. It's obviously got to be open, transparent, and regularly reviewed and updated. When things change or there's a new expense or an existing expense has gone up, you've got to make sure you sit down together and update it. But at the end of the day, it's got to work for you, both immediately and into the long run. So have those conversations about how you're going to be doing your budgets, but also how you're going to be managing the cash flow. Bank accounts where your income go to, which accounts where you have your expenses coming out, and how you're going to divvy them up together. Which brings me to my next question. What are the short-term, medium-term, and long-term financial goals that we want to work on together, including the fun ones? So when we talk about financial goals, it's easy to just simply focus on the serious ones, like saving up for a home, investing, paying off a home, paying off debt. But don't be boring and a stickler. think about the fun goals, the goals that give us light at the end of the tunnel and give us a sense of sanity. Things like an amazing holiday, or upgrading a car, or maybe something really simple like a few key pieces for your winter wardrobe, or, some new gadgets for the home. Or if, like Tom, buying a new piece of golf equipment, like a driver. These are the conversations you should be having, because money isn't about just budgeting and investing and superannuation and paying off your home. It's about adventure and having fun, and, even things about what courses you want to do together. So think about the things that are important to you. What do you want to achieve, even individually, that you want to work on? And what do you want to work on together? Think about the goals that actually bring you joy and excitement, and keep both of you motivated and feeling empowered. Money isn't just about security. It's also about creating and enjoying a life that you really do love, and you really do love together. So make sure that you obviously have those responsible financial goals, but please make sure you're including goals that excite you and inspire you. And again, listen to each other's answers with respect and love. Question 6. How are we going to handle financial setbacks, and how are we going to proactively avoid them together? Okay, so let's be honest. Let's be real. Life happens. Things happen out of the blue. There are unexpected expenses. There are job losses. There are medical emergencies. And financial stress can strain even the strongest relationships. I've shared with you in previous podcasts where Tom and I went through Frugal February a couple of years ago, and it was far from frugal. We had over $100,000 worth of water damage done to our house, which wasn't insurable. Both our dogs got sick for separate reasons. Our garage broke. We had to get a new motor. It was just blow after blow after blow. We just felt that the hits just kept on coming, and it put us under a huge amount of financial stress. But because we worked together as a team, we were respectful, we were open, we were transparent, and we focused on solutions, we managed to get through it. And I can say with my hand on my heart, our relationship is so much stronger from those tough times. So what I recommend for you guys to do is to discuss how you would handle setbacks. The conversation around emergency money. How much emergency money should you have? What is realistic as to what you need for your situation and your financial responsibilities? There is not a magical formula here. You need to have those conversations. And where is that emergency money going to sit? Is it going to sit in a joint account? Is it going to sit in separate accounts? Or is it going to sit in a redraw facility or an offset account if you already have a home together? And what about personal insurances? Do you each have income protection, life insurance, trauma cover? These are really important, because when something goes wrong, an ambulance is called or a doctor says you need to come back in and we need to do some more tests, it's too late to take these policies out. And of course, yes, you might have annual leave, you might have sick leave, you might even have a long service leave, but that's only going to give you a certain level of protection. You need to think about long-term protection to handle these situations. And think about that number, that emergency number. It's not a magical formula, as I said. You need to think about the responsibilities that you each have and think of a number that you can both come up with together that will mean you both sleep well at night. So avoid these stresses. Make sure you prepare for it in advance. I've never met someone who regretted having emergency money. And talk about all the different scenarios to help you come up with that security plan. How are you going to save up that emergency money? What conversations you need to be having with who about income protection? You want to make sure that no matter what life throws your way, you are still standing on your own 2 feet, or if you do get knocked over, it's only temporary, and you have enough safety nets around you to help pull you up again and get you back on track, heading in the right direction. Have these conversations now and get professional advice if need be. And then finally, question number 7. How are we going to merge our finances? How are we going to navigate if there's a period in our life where we go to a one income period? Every couple approaches joint finances differently. Some like to merge absolutely everything immediately. And I will share with you that over a period of time, Tom and I, when we had children together, that was the defining point where we went, okay, none of this is mine, this is yours, we're pulling everything together. And I've had no regrets in doing this. So we need to understand there is no one-size-fits-all instruction or formula for couples. Some, as I said, like to keep it separate, some like to contribute to shared expenses, and some like to actually even look at, okay, well, I earn $100,000 a year, you earn 50, so we'll run the expenses, in that proportion where I cover, 2/3, you cover 1/3. Just make sure whatever you pick, you both agree to, you feel is respectable, and you feel is fair and equitable. But the thing with this is, you need to go beyond that and have the conversation as to what happens further down the track if one of you takes time off work, whether it be raising a family, whether it be to do some additional study, or whether it be something that's kind of happened under unexpected circumstances. Are you going to be able to rely on that other person for income and financial stability? Or can they rely on you for financial stability and to cover the expenses? How are you going to manage the expenses? You've got to have a proactive plan in place or some clearly defined boundaries so that you know where each of you stand. And this will really help prevent tension and resentment further down the track. And you also need to have those conversations, particularly if you're talking about, okay, well, what happens when we have children? Okay, I might go to part-time work, or I might actually take 3-4 years off to have children and have a couple of children, or however many children you dream of having. What's the long-term cost to my super? How are we going to manage that together? Because whilst I'm not working, I'm out of the workforce, I'm not earning super, but also my career path is on hold. It might be harder to get back in again. Also, how are we going to manage childcare expenses? Daycare is expensive. How are we going to manage that? Will the person who's working full-time, remaining in the workforce, be able to recover all those expenses? Or do we expect each other to return back to work? Or perhaps the main income earner might go, actually, you know what, I'm going to go part-time. Or maybe you both go part-time. Have these conversations right now. And it's also not just about having children necessarily. What happens if one of you goes, you know what, I really need to do an MBA to take my career path to the next level? It's going to involve me going to part-time work or actually taking a year off work to really focus on getting this done. Are you okay with supporting me during this period? Can you manage all our expenses? Or perhaps we need to maybe save up a couple of years in advance to help prepare for these times. What if another person wants to have a career path? They're earning a great income, but they're not fulfilled. They're not happy. And they think, you know what, I actually really want to change my career path. And that career path is a very different earning capacity. Their income is going to dramatically change and reduce. How are you going to proactively handle that? Have those conversations now. This is not about filling you with fear or worry or panic, but just putting food for thought. Making sure that you're thinking about it, and if these things are important to you, you can start planning. For example, you can start saving up to have a family and to go down to one income. You can start saving up to pay for that MBA. You can start, tackling the mortgage or start investing so that you don't need to worry so much about earning less from a career path. Have these conversations together. Write things down. Brainstorm. Do more research. Get professional advice where you need it. So there you have it. 7 really powerful conversations to have with each other before you sign the dotted line. But here's the most important part, and I can't stress this enough. Listen carefully to both your own answers and your partner's answers. Listen and show respect. Approach these conversations from a place of education and empowerment, never criticism or judgment. Everybody is different with their background around money. Everyone has different types of blocks. Everyone has different types of fears. And also, of course, people may have different levels of financial empowerment. You need to make sure each other feels safe, secure, and heard at all times. Money isn't just about numbers. It's about trust. It's about values. And it's about building a fabulous financial future together that's actually filled with unconditional love. So whether you're newly engaged, whether you've been in a long-term relationship, or you're just starting to have these conversations with a new partner, please make sure that you take the time to work through these questions. It could be the best investment you ever make in your relationship, for better or for worse. So thank you everyone for listening to this morning's episode on Sugar Mama's Fire Play. Of course, if you found this episode valuable, please take the time to go and share it with someone you love, a friend, a family member, or of course, someone who's special in your love life right now. And if you haven't already, please make sure you've hit subscribe, you're following this show so that you never miss an episode. And of course, please always feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at SugarMamaTV if you have any questions at all. Until next time, stay empowered, stay educated, and keep your eye on the prize, financial independence that burns bright within. This is Sugar Mama's Fire Play.